3 days ago, someone rang my doorbell at 3:14 in the afternoon. That was already strange because I don't get visitors. I work from home. I don't have friends close enough to just drop by. And most importantly, my building has a locked front entrance. So how the hell this person even got to my door was mystery number one. When I opened it, no one was there. Just a small, taped-up cardboard box sitting on my doormat. No label. No return address. Not even a shipping company's logo. Just a blank box with my name on it. Handwritten, which somehow felt more threatening than if it were printed. For 10 full minutes, I stared at it like it might explode. I even considered calling the building manager, but curiosity eventually overruled anxiety, as it always does with me. I brought it inside, set it on the table, and sat across from it like I was preparing for an interrogation. When I finally opened it, I found two things. A burned CD, and a single Polaroid photo, face down. Yeah, a CD, like it was 2004. And I don't even own a CD player anymore. I had to dig my old laptop out of a closet, plug it in, and hope it still worked. The photo, though, it was of me, sleeping, in my old bedroom, in a house I hadn't lived in for over 5 years. I dropped it. My hands were shaking. I don't even remember that photo being taken. The bedding, the lamp in the corner, even the stupid wall art she made me hang up, it all came flooding back at once. That was the room Quinn and I used to share. Before she blew everything up. Before the lies. Before the smirks and the gaslighting and the "you're crazy, Trevor." Back then, I didn't know she was cheating. Back then, I didn't know she was building a second life with someone else while I was researching recipes for our anniversary dinner like an idiot. But now here I was, staring at a photograph of myself from a bedroom that hasn't existed for half a decade, with no explanation. And I hadn't even played the CD yet. When I finally did, it wasn't music. It was a recording, and on it was her voice. Quinn, my ex-wife. The woman I hadn't spoken to, seen, or even thought of out loud for 1,847 days. And what she said was the last thing I expected to hear. Trevor, if you're hearing this, it means he found out. And if he found out, I need you to listen to me. Carefully. I stood up so fast the chair fell over. And just like that, I was back in it. Whatever it was. And I already knew. This wasn't just about closure. This was going to tear open everything I buried. I must have listened to the CD 5 times that night. Not because it was long, it wasn't. It was exactly 2 minutes and 18 seconds. But every time it ended, I felt like I'd missed something. A clue, a word, a breath. Something she said that would finally make sense of why, after 5 years of nothing, Quinn suddenly dropped a ticking memory bomb into my life. Her voice was tense. Not emotional, not crying, just scared. And I'd never heard her scared before. Quinn was always composed, always 5 steps ahead of me. The kind of woman who could lie straight to your face while stirring cream into her coffee, then hand you a smile like nothing ever happened. But in the recording, she was different. If he knows, I don't have much time, she said. If anyone contacts you, especially someone named Lorraine, don't believe anything they say. Don't go anywhere with them. Don't even answer the door. Trevor, please. I know you have no reason to trust me, but I'm begging you, just listen. Lorraine. That name hit like a sharp tap on a locked drawer in my head. I hadn't thought about her in years. Lorraine was Quinn's co-worker at the art gallery, the one with the platinum pixie cut and a chain around her neck that looked more like a threat than jewelry. She never liked me, thought I was boring, called me Mr. Accountant behind my back even though I worked in insurance. I always had this weird gut feeling about her, like she was watching me whenever Quinn and I had fights. She always seemed too involved. And now she was being mentioned in a cryptic warning on a mystery CD inside a package with no sender. My brain was sprinting, but my body felt frozen. I kept pacing the apartment in this dumb pattern from the kitchen to the bathroom, like walking in a circle would lead to a conclusion. I stared at the photo again, the one of me sleeping. The timestamp printed on the bottom corner said April 7th, 20. I did the math. That was 3 days before the night Quinn left me, which meant someone had been in our house back then. Watching, taking pictures, and I never knew. I couldn't sleep. I just sat on the couch with Willow curled up on my lap, her tail twitching every time I flinched. I was too wired to relax, too shaken to even consider that maybe this was all some elaborate prank. Because deep down, I knew Quinn wouldn't do this unless something was truly wrong. The next morning, I called the number that left the voicemail. It rang twice, then disconnected. I called again. Same thing. I sent a text. Quinn, I got the box. I heard the CD. What's going on? No reply. Hours passed. I went to work, but didn't get anything done. My manager asked if I was sick. I said no, but I looked it. At lunch, I checked my phone again and saw a new message from an unknown number. It said, "She shouldn't have involved you. We need to meet." No name, just a location, an address 2 neighborhoods over, a coffee shop that had been shut down for years. I stared at the screen like it might bite me. And right then, every warning bell in my head started going off. But instead of listening to them, I grabbed my coat. Because if there's one thing I've never been good at, it's letting things go. I should have trusted my gut. Every step I took toward that address felt heavier than the last, like my body was trying to hold me back from something I wasn't ready to know. It was a gray, cold afternoon. That kind of December day where even the air feels tired. The coffee shop was exactly how I remembered it, boarded up, half-gutted by time, with a faded for lease sign crooked in the window. But there was a car idling nearby. An old silver sedan, windows tinted. I hesitated, then crossed the street. The moment I stepped near the front of the shop, the passenger door of the sedan creaked open. A man stepped out. Tall, clean-shaven, mid-50s. Wore a dark coat, neat black gloves, and shoes way too polished for a place like this. He looked government, or corporate, or maybe something in between. I didn't recognize him, but he clearly knew me. "Trevor Monroe?" he asked. Not a smile, not a blink, just that voice, calm and rehearsed like he was reading a script. I nodded, regretting it instantly. "I was told you might come," he said. "I need you to get in. We can't talk out here." Now, I'm not an action movie kind of guy. I'm the guy who fast-forwards through the chase scenes because they stress me out. But there I was, heart in my throat, about to climb into a stranger's car in front of a condemned building because my ex-wife told me not to trust someone else entirely. Nothing made sense anymore. But again, I got in. Because I had to know. We drove in silence for about 10 minutes. No music. No questions. Just the hum of tires and my racing mind trying to figure out what kind of hole I'd stepped into. Eventually, he pulled into a warehouse parking lot on the edge of town. Remote. Industrial. Empty. My palms were sweating. He shut off the engine, turned to me, and said, "What Quinn sent you? Did it include the full list?" I blinked. "What list?" He looked almost disappointed, like he expected more from me. "Then you're not the only one she sent it to," he muttered, more to himself than me. I started to ask him who he was, but he cut me off. "Trevor, I need you to be very honest with me. Have you spoken to Quinn in the last 48 hours? In any way, voice, message, social media?" I nodded slowly. She left a voicemail. Then I got a CD. And a photo. His face changed. Just for a moment. A flicker of something cold beneath the surface. Not fear, strategy. Like he was calculating new odds. "Where's the disc?" he asked. "Home." "Why?" "Destroy it. Now. That message wasn't meant for you." I laughed, nervously but still. "She literally addressed it to me." "She knew you'd listen," he replied. But that's exactly the problem. That's when I realized I hadn't actually learned anything. I was just collecting pieces of a puzzle I wasn't even sure existed. I was out here alone, following the voice of a woman who'd lied to me for years, who vanished without a second thought, who only resurfaced when something clearly went wrong in her life. I asked him, "Who are you?" He looked me dead in the eye and said, "I'm the last person who tried to help her. And if you're smart, Trevor, you'll walk away. Because Quinn? She doesn't call people unless someone's already dead." And that's when my phone buzzed. One new voicemail. From Quinn. Again. I didn't check the voicemail right away. I just sat there, gripping my phone, sweating through my shirt while this stranger in a black coat stared at me like he knew exactly what was about to happen. The air in the car had changed. Thick with something I couldn't name. Paranoia, maybe. Or dread. I asked him again, "Who are you really?" He didn't answer. Instead, he reached into the inside pocket of his coat and pulled out a folded photograph. No words. He just handed it to me. And when I opened it, my heart dropped straight into my stomach. It was me. And Quinn. From 6 years ago. A candid shot. We were at a lake house. We rented it for our 2nd anniversary. I remember it vividly because it was the last time we had what felt like real peace. I was laughing in the photo. She was looking at me like I was the only thing in the world that made sense. The back of the photo had a date scribbled in red ink, and one single name beneath it. Nolan. I hadn't heard that name in over half a decade. I handed the photo back. That doesn't make sense. Nolan died. The man's jaw tensed. You think he died? But that's not the story Quinn told us. What the hell does he have to do with this? I asked, my voice cracking like a teenage boy's. He looked at me like I'd just opened a cursed book. Everything. Before I could ask more, my phone buzzed again. Another voicemail. Same number. 2 in a row. I couldn't ignore them anymore. My hands were shaking as I pressed play on the first one. I turned up the volume. It was Quinn's voice again, but this time she was frantic. Breathing fast. Like she was moving while she spoke. Maybe running. Trevor, listen to me. You can't trust anyone who talks about Nolan. Not the man who met you. Not even me, okay? You remember what happened in 2018. You remember the cabin. You think you do, but you don't. And I wasn't supposed to contact you, but I made a mistake. I thought if anyone could figure it out, it'd be you. She paused, and I heard the sound of a door slamming, maybe a car door. I'm sorry. I know I hurt you, but this is bigger than us. It's always been bigger than us. If I don't make it out of this, look for the lighthouse photo. The one from your desk drawer. You kept it. I know you did. He's in the background. He was always in the background. I just didn't see it until too late. The message ended. I was frozen in place. Because I had kept that photo. And she was right. There was a man in the background. Barely visible. Out of focus. I never thought twice about him. I just assumed he was some tourist on the rocks by the shore. But now, my stomach was twisted in knots. Before I could think, I played the second voicemail. Don't go home, Quinn said. If they know you listen to this, they'll already be watching your apartment. I didn't want you involved. But once the disc was delivered, they assumed you knew. Trevor, they don't erase files. They erase people. Please, don't go back there. Don't be predictable like I was. I'm so sorry. The message ended in a strange clicking noise. I looked over at the man beside me. He was already watching me. You're in deeper than you know, he said quietly. They wouldn't have used your name unless they wanted you found. Which means we're out of time. He started the engine again. I looked at him and asked, where are we going? He didn't answer. Just turned onto the road and hit the gas. And I realized something terrifying. He never asked for my address. But he knew exactly where I lived. I don't know why I didn't jump out of the car when I had the chance. Maybe it was fear. Or exhaustion. Or just the pathetic part of me that still, even after all this, thought maybe Quinn was in trouble and I was the only one who could help her. But as we drove through side streets, avoiding main roads, turning at random, it started to hit me. He never asked me for my address. He never asked how I found the coffee shop. He just appeared. And now he was driving me somewhere, in silence, like this had all been planned. I watched the streets. And when he pulled onto my block, I felt my throat tighten. My apartment building sat in the same boring spot it always had, but something felt wrong. The street was too quiet. No neighbors outside. No usual barking from the dog across the hall. Just a stillness that screamed, don't go inside. He parked and said nothing. I stepped out, slowly, scanning every window like someone might be watching. I took the stairs instead of the elevator, just in case, and by the time I reached my floor, my legs were shaking. That's when I saw it. My apartment door. Wide open. No sign of forced entry. No damage. Just open. As if someone had let themselves in. I hesitated in the hallway. If this were a movie, I would have turned around and called the cops. But real life doesn't come with soundtracks or clear logic. It just hits you with the awful decision to either be afraid or be clueless. I chose afraid. I stepped inside. Everything looked normal. At first. But then I saw the bed. My bedroom door was ajar. I nudged it open slowly. And that's when I saw the object lying right in the center of the bedspread, perfectly placed. A single sheet of paper. Typed. No header. No signature. Just 2 lines. You ignored the first warning. We're watching the second. There won't be a third. I backed out of the room so fast I hit the doorframe. My hands were cold. My breathing was rapid. And for a moment, I was too frozen to even run. The man in the coat. He hadn't followed me in. I checked the front hallway. He was gone. His car wasn't even on the street anymore. He'd brought me here, dropped me like bait, and vanished. I shut and locked the door. Not that it mattered now. Whoever left the note had already been inside. They knew my routine. They'd seen my space. They knew I'd come back, even after Quinn told me not to. I went to the kitchen, opened the drawer where I kept the lighthouse photo. My hand was trembling as I pulled it out. I stared at the image. My mind was racing. But now that she'd told me, I couldn't unsee it. There, standing near the rocky shore in the background, blurred but unmistakable, was a man. The same build, the same hairline, the same damn black coat. The man who drove me here. I looked again at the note. There won't be a third. Third what? Third warning? Third person? Or third victim? Suddenly my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. This time, it wasn't a voicemail. It was a photo of me, standing in the hallway just seconds ago. From behind, I stared at the photo on my phone for almost a full minute, not breathing. It showed me, standing in the hallway just outside my bedroom, head slightly turned, shoulders hunched. The exact position I'd been in no more than 30 seconds ago, which meant whoever took the picture was inside the apartment at the same time as me, or close enough to make it feel like they were. I spun around, checked the hallway again, checked every closet, every cabinet, even behind the shower curtain. Nothing. No signs of forced entry, no hidden cameras, no footprints on the floor. But that photo, it hadn't been taken through a peephole or security cam. It was eye-level, human, intimate. I deleted it out of instinct, like that would undo the violation I felt, then immediately regretted doing so. It was proof. Of what? I didn't know, but it was proof. I called Quinn, straight to voicemail. Again, I sent a message this time. Someone was in my apartment. Who are they? What do they want? I didn't expect a reply, but I also didn't expect a knock on the door 10 minutes later. It was soft, polite, not the kind of knock that screams emergency, but the kind that whispers, I know you're in there. I grabbed the heaviest thing in reach, an iron candle holder, and crept to the peephole. There, standing alone, was a woman. Late 40s, red coat, pale skin, gloves. She held nothing in her hands, didn't seem nervous, and was looking directly at the peephole, like she knew I was watching. Trevor, she said softly, through the door. I'm not here to hurt you. I only want to talk. My name is Lorraine. The name hit like a knife. Lorraine, the woman Quinn told me not to trust. The one from the gallery. The one I'd buried in the back of my memory, because she always gave me this feeling like I was something beneath her shoes. I didn't speak. I didn't move. She continued. If you'd like to know the truth, you'll come with me. But if you'd rather keep being lied to by your ex-wife, I understand. Quinn's always been good at making herself the victim. I took a breath and made the worst decision of the day. I opened the door. She didn't look surprised. Just stepped back one pace and smiled, like she'd known all along I'd cave. Bring your phone, she said. You'll want to record what happens next. I followed her out of the building. Her car wasn't parked out front. It was around the block, hidden behind a van like she didn't want it traced. That should have been enough of a red flag, but I was already too deep. Once inside, she didn't speak for the first 5 minutes. Just drove, like the man before her, like they were all playing from the same script. I broke the silence. Why now? Why me? She gave a small laugh. Because you were the only idiot who stayed out of the real mess. Quinn dragged everyone else into it years ago, but you? You were always on the outside, always watching her, never questioning why she knew so much about people she shouldn't have known. I swallowed hard. What are you talking about? She glanced at me like I was a child asking where the moon goes during the day. Quinn was never just an artist, she said. She was a collector. I frowned. Collector of what? Her voice dropped low. Leverage. She pulled into a parking garage beneath an old office building downtown. It was half abandoned, graffiti, flickering lights, trash in the corners. She shut off the engine and looked at me directly for the first time since we left. You're about to see something that might break you, she said. But if you want answers, this is the last off-ramp. After this, there's no pretending she was just your manipulative ex-wife. She opened her door and stepped into the shadows. I followed, not because I was brave, but because I'd already lost too much not to know what the hell Quinn had gotten me into. The elevator smelled like rust and bleach. Lorraine pressed the button for the 9th floor without saying a word, and I stood in the corner like a hostage in my own life, clutching my phone even though I hadn't had a signal since we entered the garage. As the elevator crawled upward, my mind spiraled. I tried to prepare myself for whatever was coming, but nothing could have readied me for what I was about to see. The doors opened into a hallway that didn't belong in any normal building. No office signs, no tenant names, just a long corridor lit by harsh white bulbs and lined with unlabeled steel doors. Lorraine walked with calm precision, heels echoing like a metronome of bad decisions. At the end of the hallway, she stopped at a keypad and typed in a code without even glancing down. The door clicked open. Inside was a room that felt like it didn't belong in this decade. There were shelves stacked with boxes, rows of locked file drawers, and a long metal table in the center with photographs spread across it like some kind of evidence archive. Dozens of them. Hundreds maybe. People, documents, maps, handwritten notes, even old cell phones sealed in plastic bags. But my stomach dropped when I saw my name, printed in bold on one of the folders. Trevor Monroe. Right there, in the same cabinet as half a dozen other names I didn't recognize. I reached for it, but Lorraine's voice stopped me. I said you'd want to record this, she muttered, gesturing to my phone. You might not believe it later. I hit record. My hands were shaking. She opened a drawer and pulled out a file marked Project Willow. I froze. That name, it wasn't random. Willow is my cat. A rescue I got after Quinn left. The only creature I trust. But this folder, it was labeled as if I was part of something I didn't know I was in. She laid the folder flat, opened it, and inside were surveillance images. Of me. In my apartment. Walking to work. Sitting on a bench eating lunch. From before I ever got the CD. From years ago. Photos that should not exist. I don't understand, I whispered. You were tagged, Lorraine said plainly. Not chipped. Nothing physical. But Quinn marked you digitally. She used you to test something. That's why she got close to you in the first place. I shook my head. That's not possible. We met in college. No, Lorraine said coldly. You thought you met in college. You were introduced. She was recruited, and she was good at it. They called her the soft knife. Because you never see the cut coming. My knees went weak. I leaned on the table. Every memory with Quinn started to feel staged. The timing of how we met. Her uncanny ability to coincidentally run into me. How she moved in just 3 weeks after we started dating. The fast marriage. The gaslighting. The slow withdrawal of intimacy just before she found herself with Evan. Was that all part of it? Was Evan even real? Lorraine opened another folder. This time, it wasn't about me. It was about Nolan, Quinn's brother, the one I thought had died in a car accident. Only he didn't. Because there he was in a blurry surveillance photo from 2 years ago, standing outside a storage facility in Nevada. Quinn said he was dead, I muttered. She said a lot of things, Lorraine replied. I picked up the photo. My head was swimming. Why are you showing me this? Because she's on the run now, Lorraine said, almost bored. And if they find her, they'll burn every link she ever had, including you. I looked up, finally seeing the fear she'd been hiding behind the control. So why help me? She didn't answer at first, just turned away. But right before she walked out of the room, she whispered, because once, a long time ago, I helped Quinn start all this. And now I need someone else to finish it. Then she left me there, alone, with my name on a file folder, and the sound of my phone buzzing again in my hand. Another message. This time, it wasn't from Quinn. It was from Nolan. I didn't open Nolan's message right away. For a second, I just stared at his name on the screen like it was a ghost texting me. 5 years ago, I stood at his fake funeral, shook hands, cried beside Quinn, listened to her sob about losing her only brother. Now here he was, alive, sending me a text like we were picking up where we left off. When I finally opened it, there was no greeting, no explanation, just a location pin, and a time, midnight. Come alone. I could have ignored it. I probably should have. But I'd passed the point of pretending I was still some boring insurance guy with a nervous laugh and a cat that made his apartment feel less empty. I was in it now. Not by choice, but by the slow collapse of every lie Quinn had ever wrapped around me like a blanket. So I went. It was an old bus station just outside the city, abandoned for years. The kind of place where people disappear quietly. I arrived 10 minutes early and waited inside, surrounded by silence and shadows. At exactly midnight, a door creaked open across the room. He stepped in. It really was him. Older, rougher, beard thicker, eyes sharper. But it was Nolan. The same Nolan who used to make bad coffee and argue about sci-fi movies with me when I'd visit Quinn's family. Except now, there was no warmth. Just a tired man who looked like he'd seen every terrible thing I was only just beginning to understand. You're not supposed to be part of this, he said, his voice lower than I remembered. Too late, I replied. He nodded. Quinn always said you'd be the last person standing. I clenched my fists. Why fake your death? Why lie to everyone? He didn't flinch, because I found out what she was really doing. And she gave me two options: disappear or be disappeared. He sat down on a bench and motioned for me to do the same. She didn't just collect leverage, Trevor. She created it. People trusted her. She'd get close, learn everything, then record it, copy it, store it. Even I wasn't safe. I made one mistake, a favor for a guy I owed, and she used it to build a file that could destroy me. So I vanished. It was the only way. I stared at the cracks in the tile beneath my feet, trying to absorb it all. Every moment I spent thinking Quinn was just a selfish, cheating ex. Now it felt like I'd vastly underestimated the truth. She hadn't just hurt me emotionally. She'd used me, monitored me, controlled me. But I wasn't a victim anymore. What do they want now? I asked. Why are people watching me? Because she's gone rogue, Nolan said. Someone burned her out. She's not working for them anymore. And the last backup of everything she ever collected? It's tied to you. I blinked. What? She used your old laptop. The one she gave you as an anniversary gift? She stored an entire shadow archive on it. Names, videos, blackmail files. You're the key now. That's why Lorraine let you in. She wants it. But so do others. My head was spinning. So what do I do? He stood up. You disappear. You build a new life. Start clean. And this time, you don't let anyone walk in without earning it. Not a woman. Not a friend. Not even a cat. I paused. I'm not leaving Willow. That made him laugh. For the first time. Then take her with you. But wipe everything. The laptop. The phone. Even this conversation. He handed me an envelope. Inside was a new ID, a bus ticket, and keys to a storage unit. There's money. Enough to start fresh. Just go. Leave this world behind. It's collapsing anyway. I looked at the door, then back at him. What about you? I've been gone a long time, Trevor. But maybe it's time I stop running too. We shook hands. No goodbye. Just a look that said, we survived something we weren't supposed to. That was 8 months ago. Now I live in a small town up north. I have a job fixing antique clocks. I rent a cottage near the water. Willow still sleeps at my feet. And for the first time in my life, I don't feel watched. I never heard from Quinn again. But sometimes, when I look out at the lake, I wonder if she's still out there, collecting, watching, preparing her next move. But she won't find me this time. I didn't run. I rebuilt.